Hello and welcome everyone, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of ZEN Talks. On ZEN Talks, we share stories which can engage and empower, which can inspire and influence. And today I have a very special guest with me, Captain Zoya Agarwal, a woman who is acknowledged widely as the country's star pilot, the world's youngest 777 commander, and also the first female aviator to have flown to the North Pole. Welcome, Captain Zoya Agarwal. It is a pleasure to have you here with us. And thank you so much for shuttling between your various time zones and your hectic schedules and taking out time to be here with us on ZEN Talks. So tell me, Zoya, how was the transition from a stargazing teenager to the world's youngest 777 commander? How tough was your journey?
I think, Ruchira, it's very, very easy to get discouraged in a setting where your environment, your family, your support system does not seem to favor you. It doesn't seem to resonate with your thought process, which I think happens with a lot of young girls. It happened with me. I came from a very conservative family where I was not even allowed to dream. So similarly, I think a lot of young girls out there have a same journey where it's easy to buckle under pressure. It's easy to kneel down. Please do not kneel down to pressure. If you have a dream, chase it, focus on your goal, continue working towards it tirelessly with all your heart and soul. Be dedicated towards it, and you will achieve it. World is your oyster.
Yes, so Zoya, as you know, Air India is of course planning disinvestment, and of course that was delayed due to the pandemic. And privatization will come with its own benefits, but it will also have a long-term impact on employees. And do you think the industry will bounce back? So we just wanted to know your thoughts.
Absolutely, Ruchira. Industry will bounce back in no time, I'm sure. Just let the vaccination and the whole fear psychosis run its course, which I'm sure is going to happen soon. Globally, things have bounced back a lot. Like, I've just come back from San Francisco, and I can tell you the world has changed back for good over there. So things are coming back slowly to normal. In India, I am 1000% sure. Once our numbers have already reduced a lot, once we are vaccinated, people are going to start traveling. People have been locked up for too long in their houses, and you will see people traveling back with a bang. And globally, I see a lot of bouncing back in the whole aviation industry. So there is no doubt about that in my mind, that our aviation is going to bounce back. It's going to take a little time, but definitely bounce back.
So on 9 January 2021, when you along with your 3 other colleagues flew the longest commercial flight from Bengaluru to San Francisco, you scripted history. The flight saved 10,000 kilograms of fuel and of course created history. So tell me, how was that moment? What were the emotions that you and your crew went through? And how tough was it to prepare for this journey?
Our girls, they are my polar girls, and honestly, this is all, like I was telling you, it's all teamwork. I'm so grateful to them. They are my rocks, throughout this journey we were together. It was such an exciting journey to have done. I think this is a flight which we'll never forget for the rest of our lives. We were very excited right from San Francisco. So for almost 3 days, I did not step out of my room, preparing each and every single minute detail regarding this flight, making sure the whole world's eyes were on us. Right from, this was PM Modi ji's dream to connect the two antipodes, the two Silicon Valleys of USA and India, San Francisco and Bengaluru, the maiden flight, the flight over the North Pole, the record-creating flight. There were too many firsts happening on this flight, and we had to make sure that everything was absolutely spot on. Absolutely. So we were very excited right from the start. At the airport, you could see the excitement in the passengers because they knew they were going to be a part of scripting history. And there were those happy moments after such a long time in 2021, post the COVID 2020. I saw a verve of excitement and happiness in 2021, and that happened right at the start. I could see it on their faces behind those masks. Like, we were stopped for selfies so many times en route to the airplane.
They were part of history along with you, so I'm sure they were ecstatic.
Absolutely. And then, I made sure that I wanted my passengers to see every single thing what I was seeing in the flight deck through my eyes, the entire journey, the experience. I made 7 announcements through the course of this flight. when we were entering polar region, when we were over the North Pole, when we could see the beautifully dark, starry lit sky along with the aurora borealis, to coming on the other side of the world, when the compass flips from north to south. It was an amazing journey. And
unforgettable moment, I'm sure. Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. And when we landed in Bengaluru, there was this whole applause in the cabin, so loud that I could hear it almost inside. And I don't think I've ever seen so many cameras being pointed at me when we were parking the airplane. I was just shocked. I was like, what's happening,
But it was a historic flight. You
very...
saved 10,000 kg fuel, you reduced time, you reduced carbon emissions. So, as you said, there were many firsts with this flight.
Absolutely. And there was a very warm welcome at Bengaluru airport. Throughout the world, I think all the air traffic controllers also knew. Yeah. So truly heartwarming flight this was.
Great. So Zoya, amongst your many other achievements, one particular achievement which really caught my eye was the time that when you actually turned back a flight of 327 passengers because one of your passengers was not feeling well. So tell me, how difficult was it to actually take that decision to fly back, and you managed to save that passenger's life? So tell us a little about that experience.
Ruchira, in Air India and as a human being, my parents, I've been taught to put the value of human life above every single thing. No matter how much on the money, it doesn't even matter. The value of life comes the first, because that one person who is on your flight, who may be sick, is someone's wife, someone's daughter, someone's mother, someone's child. You must never forget the fact that it's a human being behind the number. It's just not one passenger. It's actually a human being who means a world to so many people who are there in his or her life. So one such passenger was there who fell critically ill on my Delhi to New York flight. And when I was told about it, I was flying about to enter Pakistan, and the doctors, by the time we got a doctor's attention and they diagnosed her, I was in Pakistan airspace, and doctors told me she only had 2 hours to 2 hours, otherwise she'll not make it. So I had two choices. I could have gone back to Delhi, which had really bad weather, and that came with its own set of challenges. And then the second was the closest, which is Lahore, but that's of course with the political tensions, the geopolitical atmosphere, whether I was even going to be able to get her the medical attention she required was a question. We had to jettison fuel because we were carrying an Olympic-sized pool of fuel since we were going from Delhi to New York. And we had to jettison almost 100 tons. And, that was the day I realized, more than the geopolitical tensions that we talk about, it's the human angle which is above everything. I could not have jettisoned that fuel in Delhi airspace or in Indian airspace because there was too much of lightning going on over there. So obviously, fuel and lightning are not a good combo. So I had to make sure that before I enter India, my fuel jettisoning or dumping was already done. I just requested the Pakistani controllers that please help us save a life. And you know what? They were on board and they helped us do whatever we needed to do. But we did that. And at the end of it all, we were able to save a human life.
Which is priceless, yes. True.
Completely priceless. Absolutely. And more than that, I was one of the youngest at that flight amongst all my crew. So, and I had to convince my crew to be able to take off for New York since the airline had taken
back in Delhi.
Yeah, exactly. So, because we threw out so much of fuel. So I did not want the airline to take further hit by cancelling the flight. That would have been more of a financial burden for the airline. So I requested my crew and everybody to, go back to New York on a humanitarian basis since we had come back for a sick passenger. And you know what? The value of communication is such that they all rallied behind me and they stood behind me. We all flew back to New York. So we did everything that day. So it was a special flight to my heart.
That's wonderful. And you also led the Vande Bharat mission where you rescued 14,800 stranded Indians from across the globe, from 12 countries across the globe. So you, along with your colleagues, have also been frontline warriors, much like our healthcare workers. So how was that experience? Was it daunting, or you were just in the moment and you just knew that you had to get your Indian citizens back home?
Nothing is daunting, honestly, Ruchira. I mean, it's. I think our own mindsets are daunting to us more than anything else. If you change your approach and looking at things, it is only something that you can brew more positivity into it. For example, like last year's flight, the first flight that I operated from San Francisco to Mumbai. Uh, a lot of our brothers and sisters were stranded all over the world, and they had to be brought back. The Indian government started this wonderful initiative, Vande Bharat mission. But there were few of us who were willing to operate, and rightfully so. We were all so scared of the virus at that time. And there was so much more to be known, not for ourselves, but for our own families, for our loved ones. So when this all started, and I was also one of the first few to step up because I really believed in the mission, the Vande Bharat mission. Absolutely, along with so many of my other colleagues, we all stepped up that we want to fly. And when I landed back that flight from San Francisco to Mumbai, I still remember I was feeling a little bad about it because I was away from my family, being on Mother's Day. But I saw the bigger vision. I saw the bigger plan, that how many mothers are going to be reunited with their children
because of
life. Absolutely. So, it was so satisfying. And when I heard that applause on landing into Mumbai, and people were actually in tears, seeing those tears brought tears in my eyes. I think that is the best Mother's Day ever I have spent.
And I'm sure your mother was very proud of you that day at what you had done. I'm sure it was the best Mother's Day even for her. Just before we move to a rapid fire, one last question about, the fact that when you began your journey, there were very few women pilots. So how tough was it to actually break a gender stereotype and achieve what you have achieved, to being the youngest 777 commander and also the youngest female aviator who's flown to the North Pole? So tell us a little about if you faced any gender barriers or any difficulties to reach where you have reached today.
I don't think I face any gender barriers, honestly, with respect to when I'm in the airline, because I was telling you earlier also, Air India has been an equal opportunity employer, and I'm extremely glad to be a part of it. But before I joined the airline, yes, everybody used to tell me that you're a girl and this is not the profession for girls, and rightfully so, because the percentages were absolutely against me. The statistics were totally not in the favor of girl pilots.
Especially when you started out, yes.
Yes, absolutely. They were not. So, and that continues to be the hard fact for most of the world, even now.
And even though you look so young, I believe you had a 17-year run in the industry. So that's yes. Amazing.
I may have had a 17-year-old run, but I'm still 16 and nothing will ever
yes, that's wonderful. And you look it too. Before we wrap up, we usually have a fun rapid fire. So we'll just do that quickly. So tell me 3 things no one knows about you.
No one knows about me. That's a tough question.
I know you're an influencer. Something that nobody knows.
I love to go and spend time with children's homes. I love to spend a lot of time with little kids, talking to them and sharing those wondrous moments. I've not spoken about that side of mine at all, especially those homes where the children are there who are physically challenged. I go to those homes pre-COVID. I would go regularly, and I would take cake and something nice to eat, and we would all talk, because I feel so saddened when small children are there, when they have all the mental sharpness and capabilities, yet they can't do much because of their physical handicap. This is something which is very close to my heart. And when I do that, it's sometimes when I feel low, and when I go over there and turn those smiles with those children, it just makes me feel instantly better.
Has been your biggest inspiration, or someone who has been an icon to you in your journey, someone who's inspired you?
I am surrounded by inspiration. You are an inspiration. Whenever I go for work, everyone around me is an inspiration. You have to be open
to other female colleagues and other women around you.
even women or even children, anybody can inspire you in one way or the other. It's just you have to be an open, porous sponge to take in that inspiration, because even a 1-day-old child can inspire you. And I've always been inspired, I feel, from my 8-year-old avatar inside of me a lot, because she's the one
the young Zoya, who was a stargazing child. Yes.
Yes, and she still lives inside of me, and she pushes me every single day, Ruchira.
Nice.
The Almighty, the Almighty inspires me to push myself and to do more every single day for the betterment of this world, because at the end of the day, our motto is to leave behind a better world than we found it. So, and that's what I strive for every single day of my life.
Okay, so tell me, describe yourself in 2 words.
Passionate, driven, fun. 3 words.
Great.
I give you all.
Okay, great. So what are you reading, Zoya, right now? What are you reading currently?
I'm reading a book which our Honorable Minister Saab presented to me. It's called Delusional Politics. When me and my other 3 polar girls, we went to meet him
after the historic flight. All right.
And he gave us this book. So this has been on my mind to complete it for such a long time. So it's a wonderful book. And right now, that is on my reading shelf. Exactly.
Okay, so tell me, what is your de-stress mantra? When you're stressed out after your long, grueling flights, how do you de-stress?
I de-stress by working out, by reading a book, by cooking, just taking care of myself, I think. When you take care of yourself physically and mentally, I think you take care of every single person around you, because when you are happy within and outside, that's what you radiate to the rest of the world around you as well.
All right. And what's your favorite holiday destination and your favorite food?
The whole world is my favorite holiday destination. I don't know.
And you get to travel, actually. You get to actually travel across the world.
Yeah, God's been really kind. And I think I have too many favorite destinations, and I have too many favorite cuisines. Like, there is not just one. I'm such a foodie, and I love to eat. I love to cook. I love to travel. I love to experience whatever life has to offer, because I think God has given us this beautiful life, and we must make the most of every single second.
Great. But how do you manage to stay fit between all these amazing cuisines and beautiful destinations? What is your fitness mantra?
By not watching too many TV shows, I guess.
And working out instead. All right. Okay. So before we wrap up, Zoya, what is your advice to young girls who want to be like you?
I would tell them to please dream and do not be buckled down. Do not kneel down to the societal pressure that presents itself in your way. So please continue with your vision, with your dream, with your goal. Focus and work towards your goal, and you will achieve it. Because remember, every single great dream every single great reality begins with a great dream, and every single great dream begins with a great dreamer, and that dreamer is all of you. So continue dreaming and working towards it, and you will achieve it.
Beautiful, very inspiring words, Captain Zoya, and thank you so much for taking out time and being with us on Zen Talks. And as you all know what she said, follow your dreams and you will find wings to fly. Thank you for being with us, and thank you all for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruchira, for having me.
Thank you so much.